Alex here with a legal nuts and bolts video on serving gated community members. Very short video. I looked at something in the statutes about a couple days ago, I think, and what happened was my eyes went across this little provision on service of process when the target of the lawsuit is in a gated community, and it was pretty interesting. And I actually do remember this when I was working in collections, so I decided to do a really quick video on it just to let people know that this was a thing. In Nevada, at least in Nevada, and maybe this is a thing in your state too, you'll have to look it up. If you're trying to serve somebody who's in a gated community, you don't actually have to sneak into the community and knock on their door. Well, it should be a process server, first of all. It shouldn't be you. At least not under the rules of civil procedure concerning the service of the initial summons and complaint. But anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent. If they're in a gated community and there is no guard, there are provisions that will allow you to mail the letter, the initial, mail the initial summons and complaint. There are some pretty strict rules as to how you have to go about doing that. My understanding is that it has to be done by certified mail. It may have to be done by registered. I'm not going to look it up right now because this is going to be something that's really niche and it could change frequently. Who knows? That's if there's no way in. And I don't mean, okay, your opponent can't say that you can just trespass in. I know a lot of people just sort of tailgate into those communities, but your opponent won't be able to say, well, Your Honor, they could have just tailgated a car. If you're not supposed to be in there and it's locked, it's a gated community, you can use the statutory provision to have them served by mail. I remember you also have to ask permission from the court. So you would have to file some kind of motion and explain to the court that they're in a gated community and cite that statute. Explain why you can't get into the community, that there's no legal way for you to get in anyway. There sure is an illegal way for you to get in, but I think it makes it easier to serve these kinds of people, so why not use it? If there is an armed guard, not an armed guard, if there is a guard, like a guardhouse, doesn't matter if they're armed or not, just disregard that. If there's a guard and you can get to the guard, which you should be able to. The whole point of the guard is like check people going in and out, check their IDs and stuff like that. I've seen communities like this. Then, curiously enough, you can serve the guard. I do believe, and I'm not going to go double check this because, as I mentioned, it's really niche and it's going to be probably different for all 50 states. But I do believe that you have to ask the guard for permission first. You have to ask the guard if you can have permission to enter and serve the person that's living in the gated community that has a guard. If the guard says no, you get to leave the papers with the guard, and that counts as service. Pretty cool. When I was working for a collection agency, we took advantage of this quite often because it just made our job way easier. Trying to track down the target of a lawsuit, it's a pain in the butt. They don't open their door, they hide. I've talked about this before in another video called Service is Not a Game. To many people, service of process is a game. It's a game of hide and go seek, it's a game of tag, and they play it, and they play it for months on end. So just wanted to mention that if you have a target of a lawsuit that's in a gated community, you may be able to get around their nonsense. If they have a guard, you may be able to leave it with the guard. If they don't have a guard, you may be able to mail it to them. But you have to look at the statutes in your state, and you have to comply with those statutes to the letter. Service of process, it is one of those things that if you don't follow it, if you don't serve somebody correctly, it will be fatal to your case. You may be able to refile it, but you're going to waste so much time and money. Just pay careful attention to those statutes, and I guess with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video.